Hello, Bruchim Aboim, Shem Hashem. We're on Parshas Vayechi, the last parsha of the Chumash, what is actually a summary and uplifting, bring a new depth into the whole Chumash. It says Hakel Elech Hachar Achitum. Everything goes after the conclusion. So we'll start with a few questions and then we'll see where it will take us. So it says that Yaakov gathered, he called his children, and he wanted to reveal them the cats. Bikesh Yaakov, the Gales is a cats, to his children. He wanted to tell them when Mashiach is going to come. And then Hashem took away the Shekhinah, it was taken away from him. And he couldn't tell them when Mashiach is coming. And that's why it's a Parshas Tumah. That means there's no separation between the Vayechi and Parshas Vayigash. They go straight together, like normally by Parshas there is a separation space. So the question is, very simple question. What was Yaakov trying to tell them? That Mashiach will come in 3,300 years. What kind of good news is that? That would be a very depressing news. So why did he want to tell them that? If there was something good about it, so why was he held back from that? Why would Ibn Hashemayim, they stopped him? Okay, that's one question. What was he trying to tell them? And why? What was his svara? What was his logic to tell them when Mashiach is going to come? And if obviously he had a good reason why to tell them when Mashiach is going to come, the Galas is a cat, to rebuild the cats. So why was he stopped from heaven? I'm going to step further. He knew that they're going to stop him. Right? I'm saying he was Yaakov Avinu by the end of his life, in his highest level of point of his life. He knew they're going to stop him. So why was he trying anyway to legalize as a kids? In other words, what we're saying is he wanted to legalize the kids. It must be something good. In heaven they didn't want. And he knew that in heaven they don't want, but he still wanted. And they still stopped him. Everyone is trying to push his point. And obviously, practically looks like they haven't won. But I would like to feel that Yaakov Avinu won. Yaakov is a tzaddik. Tzaddik Gezer Kodesh Baruch Mekayim. Tzaddik wanted to rebuild the cats, and he knew they was going to stop him. So it must be that everybody won. Yaakov Avinu for sure won, got it his way. Despite that they concealed the cats and he couldn't tell them the cats, he still won. And Shemaim also won that in a certain way, he didn't come out in a way that wouldn't be 100% good, came out in the best way. So we have to explain that. Now it says Vayechi Yaakov, that's on 17 Shana. He lived in Mitzrayim 17 years. So the Turim says in the famous story with the Tzemach Tzedek that the best life of Yaakov's best years is 17 years in Mitzrayim. Why? Because now he had Yosef and they were all the children, they were all the way they should be, and they had the Gashmis and the Druchnis. So it's his best years of his life. Some Meforshim explain that the Vayechi is like twice 17. That the first 17 of Yosef's life, when Yosef was born until he lost them, he was 17, was the best years. The last 17 years with Yosef when he was in Mitzrayim, that was the best. But the question is, how could it be that the 17 years in Mitzrayim was his best years? I'm not asking Tzemach Tzedek asking the Alter Rebbe, because that's in Mitzrayim, why could it be? So he told him because he opened the yeshiva, Limud HaTorah, that's what was good. This needs explanation also, but not going that direction. But he knew that that's the beginning of the slavery of the Jews in Mitzrayim. Since it's the beginning, so why is his best years? Yes, today the 17 years actually were good years, but that was already Mitzrayim and Golus. They were not in Eretz Yisrael. And that was the beginning of the slavery that were going to be tortured in Mitzrayim. But he saw that. So why was it his best years? In other words, Paratzadik shouldn't be so much what's practically every day what's happening now. If you see something is what is the beginning of Golus, should have been a problem for him. Then he says to Yosef to do a chesed ve'emes. You do it with chesed ve'emes. So says Rashi, chesed is a kindness, but emes, that when you do kindness with somebody who passed away, that's chesed shel emes. It's true chesed. Why? Because you don't expect any reward. Because somebody who's alive, he could reward you. But to give you a reward, once somebody is passing away, if you do a chesed with somebody who passed away, he cannot reward you. So that doesn't make sense. I don't understand it. Number one, before Shemes, Yaakov gave him already chesed. He gave him the right to have two shvatim from Ephraim and Menashe became two shvatim. But the main question is, at Tzaddik, after he passes away, he could also do you a favor from heaven. And maybe even more than he could do to you from when he's down here. As it says, Tzaddikim is Yatim B'chayei. They're stronger than when they were alive. They're less limited. So what are we saying that it's chesed shalem that he cannot pay you? Of course he could pay you. And he for sure will pay you. So now, and the Torah is not only applying to a tzaddik. Even if you're doing a chesed, shalem is with a simple person, the Rebbe will pay you. What means that it's chesed shalem that you're not expecting to be paid? Of course you'll get paid. If you're doing with somebody passed away, even a bigger mitzvah, you could say. So, what is really the thing? Now we'll jump a little bit. When Yaakov passed away, so it says Vayigva. The pasuk says the word Vayigva. Vayigva is another word for passing away. It says Rashi, why did it say Vayigva and now it doesn't say Vayomas? It says Rashi, because Yaakov didn't die. He remained alive. That's a whole conversation. What means he didn't die? But other places says that he did die. So he died. And the Gemara is asking that they embalmed him and they made a funeral and they buried him. They took him to Hebron. But I want to ask another question. What is the greatness? What's unique by the idea that Yaakov really didn't pass away? Tzadikim b'misosum kurim chaim. The tzadikim, the life is a spiritual life. If he's alive or if he's not alive in this world, he's never locked into this world. He's completely beyond nature. So what is the mala that leimes? What is it helping me that leimes? What does it give me? Fakir. And the question it says b'misosum that the tzaddik when he passes away yatim b'chayei is much stronger because he doesn't have the limitation when he's alive. So if you're saying leimes, he did not pass away, and as Rashi said in the Gemara, nidulem shemes. So the question becomes a better question. If he didn't pass, so if we didn't, are we missing the mile of him passing away? It says that the whole world is dependent on the prayers of the tzaddikim in the mile in Gan Eden. Today we have an interesting thing. What is he giving a present to Yosef? He says to Yosef, your two children will become head of Shvatim. Instead of be Shevet Yosef, you have Shevet Ephraim and Menashe. What's the big thing about it? But at the end of the day, when they got the land, it was divided according to how many people it has. Basically, each individual should have an equal share. Lorav Tarbe, if you have a bigger tribe, you have more land, if it's smaller. So it doesn't make a difference if you call it 2, 3, 1. It doesn't make a difference. What is the mile that he divided him to two shvatim? But that's the mile like he was really he was the prayer, took away the prayer from Reuven, and that angel that a prayer, the oldest one, gets two chalakim, he gave it to Yosef. Well, he got two chalakim. Yes, you call two chalakim, but prayer mamesh, the pashtas they got, if there would be one shevet of Yosef who has let's say for the sake of the numbers, 50,000 people, it doesn't make a difference if it's Yosef gets 50,000 people to get that kind of land, or if it's Ephraim and Menashe, each one have 25, so they'll get also the same part of land in Eretz Yisrael for 50,000. So now we're saying that he tells Yosef, take me to Mitzrayim, and he makes him to give him an oath. And he said, I know you have in your heart, you have something against me. What do you have against him? Why you have against me in your heart, you keep in your heart a faribel. In South African, you should know what a faribel is. Against me, why I buried Rachel on the way? Why didn't I take her to Chavren or to Tomatomot? Why buried Rachel right over there where she passed away? And here. So if you know, my question is, if you know that Yosef has a faribel against you, why do you wait till the last day of your life or the last few days of your life to tell him why you did it? Because you did it for the sake of the Jewish people, that you should daven for them. The first day you met with him, you don't want to talk about the first day, but his mother, 2 days, a week. Tell him why you buried his mother there. Why are you waiting? What is the purpose of waiting till now? So we must say that he didn't have a faribel. That's why he didn't have to say him. So why suddenly now you might tell him that you have a faribel against me? That's a very interesting thing. When he wanted to bless Ephraim and Menashe, so Nistalke Menashe, why? Because he says something is a problem. He said that going to come out from Ephraim and Menashe is coming to come out Yerovam and Yehu will come out. The opposite of Tzaddik will come out. And therefore, he didn't install a Kashrim, he couldn't bench them. So question number one, why is picking on these two Shvatim? Every Shevet had Tzaddikim and had people who were not such a great Tzaddikim. I mean, the opposite of Tzaddikim. And by the end of the day, if you install Kashrim, how about the end he blessed them? What was corrected by the end that he was able to bless them? That he was not dispelled, that the fact that coming out from them the opposite of Tzaddikim. Okay, let's start to answer. There's still more questions, but let's try to see what's happening here. So we have to understand principle number one. It seems like a lot of things is repetitive. Something detailed, something ideas. When every word that's saying is a revelation and an esina scare, giving a more strength of the idea. So the fact that we're telling us that Yankov wanted to bless them, that's already a blessing itself. He wanted to reveal them the cats. Okay, first let's start with the idea if he wanted to reveal the days of Mashiach will come. So the Rebbe explains very passionate. Not he wanted to tell Mashiach will come in 3,333 years, whatever exactly we are now from Yetzias Mitzrayim. It was 1948, 2,448, if I'm not mistaken, I think so. That was the Yetzias Mitzrayim. That was Matan Torah. So today we are around 3,300 and something. So he didn't want to tell Mashiach will come today on Tes, Teves, Tovshin, Pei Beis, Erev, Yut, Asara B'Tevel. It will be a beautiful day for Mashiach to come before. Okay, that's the day we're doing the recording. So no, that he wanted to bring, the Rebbe said, Binkish Yaakov, Legales, the cats, he wanted to reveal the cats to be right there and then, that day. Before he passed away, he wanted to bring Mashiach. The whole idea, the whole purpose of creation is Mashiach. Yaakov, when he worked the Birurim of Esav, Lavan, I'm saying, he did before. Now, Yaakov, Yosef got all the money from Mitzrayim and Eretz Canaan. So he was Mevar in a certain way the whole world, because he was the king of the whole world. So he wanted Megalek to be Mashiach, come right there and then. And then they closed up on him. Why did they close up on him? Why didn't they let him to bring Mashiach? What was wrong to Mashiach would have come then? Before the suffering would come. He suffered enough, especially to Yosef. So we're saying, based on what we explained, why we didn't let Yitzchak to give the brachas to Esav. Because to bring Mashiach then, it wouldn't be a biru be'efim pnimi, internalized, and biru of all the nitzitzes of the sparks of God that are in the world. It was more in a general way done by Yaakov and Yosef. Microcosm would call it. But now, so that's why they stopped him. He took away, he shouldn't be able to bring Mashiach. So the question, why did he want to be a Mashiach, right? And he understood that because he's the one who stole the brachas from Esav in order to be a birur bay from Pnimi, a refinement and internalizing to get to it inside. So why did he want to bring Mashiach? So the explanation is he's wanting to bring Mashiach, brought in a certain way Mashiach. Mitzad the microcosm, mitzad the general idea, he wanted to bring Mashiach and he brought Mashiach. And I would almost basically say he knew that they'll stop him, he stopped himself to legalize the sakets. He wouldn't take a bit of shchina if he wouldn't want. Yankee was a balabos. He was the Nasi Adeh. He could have done whatever he wanted. So the idea, what he wanted is to want and to bring it in a certain way, but actually to bring it, not to bring it. Bring Mashiach Pil Mamish. Okay, so now what's happening, I would say the problem would be let's go to the idea of these 17 years. So Yaakov Avinu, when he wanted to give, let's say the 17 years in Mitzrayim, he reached a level. Why was it Vayechi? We said, we asked the question, why was it that he lived in his best life? Because that's when he accomplished that he was able to bring the Mashiach in a general way, and that was an injection of power that the whole idea of Shibud Mitzrayim, the whole idea of slavery in Mitzrayim will bring out good, will be Achana to Matan Torah. The whole purpose of that was Achana to Matan Torah. So in other words, it says when Mashiach will come, we'll thank the Eibishter for all the tzoros he gave us. It says that the Eibishter gave a taste of Mashiach to our forefathers. So in a way, that was the taste of Yaakov, of Mashiach, that he saw that already he saw in Mitzrayim how that will be transformed. That how we'll thank the Eibishter when Mashiach comes. In simple words, they see the old initiates that they'll take out, not only that Yosef collected it himself, now that every Jew will come out with a wealth of the value of 60 wagons of donkeys of silver, gold and silver, and not only begashmit, but the main thing is beruchnis. And that they were already from Matan Torah. So the whole idea of Yaakov, Yaakov was a life that he brought, that he came to a place where Yaakov is alive, but Yaakov's life became alive. And lay mes means he doesn't have to escape to spirituality. He came to a point that in Mitzrayim, in Ervas Ha'oretz, he was alive. It was an ultimate kind of life. Yes, if Bar Tzaddik, when he passed away, he's more spiritual than, in a higher level than he's done here Begashmis. But there is a mile when he's Vayechi, when he's alive Begashmis, in the physical world, what we're saying concerning lay mes, not only with Tzaddikim and Mesos and Purim Chaim, but lay mes, that's a unique expression said only by Yaakov and only by Moshe Rabbeinu. That he had an effect on the physical world. That explains an interesting thing. Yosef was buried in Mitzrayim. Why? Because he wanted to be with the Jewish people. He's the leader of the Jewish people. He wanted to be with them, not live them by themselves. And the Rebbe explained that is the reason the Friedrich Rebbe is in New York to be with the Jewish people and go to Mashiach will be revealed. And that's why Rochel is buried in the middle of the road, and didn't take her to Chavre, because to be with the Jewish people when they got to Golus. So the question is, so why Yaakov Avinu? Why are you going to Eretz Yisrael? Forget. Yosef has to stay here. Yosef should be there. There's the Rebbe, the Shvena, my father-in-law, the Nasser is here. Rachel, you understood they have to leave you on the way. And you were running away. Why? Because you don't want to, should have to crawl under in the tunnels when Mashiach will come, to call in the tunnels to come to Eretz Yisrael. You're a big tzaddik. If you don't want to call in the tunnels, you don't call in the tunnels. You'll call flying on clouds. But why you want to go to Eretz Yisrael? You should stay with the Jewish people. So maybe you could say because Vayechi Yaakov had the advantage, had the mile of mamish of living, had the mile of Beguv Gashmi. How exactly worked out? But he had the absolute advantage of being Beguv Gashmi in the physical world, So even so, and you needed to be in Eretz Yisrael. So Yankel, being alive, had a mile of being with the Jewish people in the physical world, because Yankel lived in Lames, didn't pass away. At the same time, he took all the Eden with him in a certain way to Eretz Yisrael. So even though they're in Mitzrayim, really Be'emes, the Pnimius, I would say they're in Eretz Yisrael. So now what we have here, that to understand that all the brachas that he gave, much for the brachas he gave, we should ask a powerful question. He saw that they're coming out Rishoyim from Ephraim and Menashe. He didn't want to give them a bracha. Why gave him the bracha? Because he realized he gave them the power that he wanted to give them the bracha, and then he couldn't, because they saw the Rishoyim that come out for them. Then he gave them the bracha, means from the one thing that he managed to reveal in them, that the whole purpose of the Rishoyim is that it will be that will be transformed. Not only we will overcome it and they'll do tshuva and refine and cleanse what they are various, but they'll be transformed into mitzvahs, into positive things. So the whole idea that he wanted to bless them, and then he couldn't, and then he blessed them. It's not just some as a game. He wanted, and they said, "Oy vey, what's happening?" Then say, "Okay, you show them a star kedushin." What does it mean? It means that he managed to, I would say, by he hugged them and he kissed them. That he managed to give them the care that in the Yerida should be revealed. That the essence of the neshama of the Jew is always together with Eibush, even in his sins. And already in this sin, you could see the whole purpose of this sin is in order to transform the sins. The whole sin is a different situation. So that he's wanting, that accomplished that idea. That's what he wanted to bless them. And therefore, by the other Shvatim, there wasn't a problem, because once he revealed that Vayechi Yaakov is alive, and the negativity is the whole purpose of negativity is Yerid Tzerech Aliyah, the descent in order to go to have an Aliyah. Right. And therefore, it's an interesting, one more interesting question that we have to try to answer. So Yankee Bavinu gave them a bracha every shevet with details that's going. He blessed them and think that he's showing what the good things that they will do. All this. But if you saw what's going to be, what do you need your bracha? Normally, everything give them a bracha for something, and therefore that's what came out. But comes out here in Chumash and in Rashi, in other version, he blessed them. They think that will come out later. Every shevet they saw what will happen, and that's what he blessed them. What's the point of blessing something that you know that's coming out? Because when things will come out, the question is two ways how they come out. Even the positive thing. Before we said the negative, we transformed into positive in a general way, and then ultimately have to come out in details. But he blessed them that the good thing that they had anyway, what's going to be, shouldn't be only in the mile of what is, how it's going to be, but elevated with a bracha from the Eibishter in a much higher level, infinitely high level. The essence of the Eibishter should be there in that bracha. And therefore that bracha is going to be a much higher bracha than was the good thing that was going to come out by themselves automatically. And that's why it explains also why I went into details. Why didn't you bless them just in a general way? You should be successful, whatever you do, everyone, whatever he has to do, it should be successful. He went into details with every person, or any one of them, because in his specific shlichas, what he had to do, he needed to bring in a deeper level from Tzad Yankov Avinu. He had to bring in a deeper level into their Aveda, should be in a much higher level than it was from before. And therefore it's so important that Yankov, they are our fathers, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yankov, because in our Aveda, it's not only the Aveda that we are doing it from our point of view, from our neshama, or even from the best of us, what we have, the idea of the amshacha of the others that come into that makes it in a much higher level. So therefore, in other words, as we said, Yaakov Avinu gave them the care to do their avodah and their shlichus, not only to overcome the obstacles, but that they will anyway overcome it. The question: what quality of avodah you're doing when you're doing your avodah? How much of your so-called what's called how much of your essence could be you doing it in a certain way, an appreciation, a good relationship, and a love for the Eibishter, and a fear of the Eibishter, and everything is good and fine. But the question: if you take the oves, who are the etzem and neshama, the essence of the Jewish people, if you manage to reveal that in your avodah, that answers us maybe another question. Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, he gave him a telling off. Didn't tell him brachas. But at the end, he said, all the brachas I gave to everybody, I'm giving to you also. Why couldn't you find a bracha for them? You want to give them a telling off. And you didn't want to give him the telling off before. Why? Because maybe they'll be embarrassed of him, maybe they'll leave him, they'll run away out of embarrassment. So give them brachas, and then give a telling off. And the second question is, Yehuda, he's giving him brachas, and he's not giving him a telling of all the other brachas. Shvatim give them only a telling of, but there's nothing what to give them mussar. Why couldn't you give everybody a bracha and a shtikul mussar? Because, and why couldn't he, question is even better, why couldn't he give them the brachas 10 years earlier, the mussar for the last day, because you don't want them to be upset, they'll be embarrassed facing you. But the mussar you should give it for. So therefore, that tells us, similar to the brachas of Yitzchak, here we're talking about a special bracha in the Avodah, not only to have a bracha of something doing good, something doing better. This is something he couldn't give them a day earlier, because he was giving them, as I said, at the day that the tzaddikim will pass away, like all the Avodah comes together. So then he gave to each one what his main idea is. If I would put it in simple words, maybe Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, maybe all Avodah was more sumera. Instead, he gave them mussar, and therefore, and he didn't give them brachas. They realized, first of all, the mussar itself was the biggest brachas. In a certain way, I would say even bigger brachas than brachas. That's why he didn't give them brachas, and they knew that. And Yehuda, what he said, they pushed away by Yehuda to be a revealed bracha. It has his mile and but each one of them has a mile over everybody. It's not that one has a mile and that the other one over the other one and the other one doesn't have a mile over the other one. Each one, like we said, I think we mentioned last week, a person obligated to say the whole world is created for me. It's for you. We're talking about a whole shevet, that is whole Avodah. And that's why, did he give them brachas? Of course he gave them brachas before. And I would even add, he gave them mussar before also, but before he gave them mussar in such a way that was easier to handle. Here again, is such a kind of a mussar, such a way that should run away. He gave them such a mussar means that they mevatel completely their metzias. And that explains the interesting thing. How come they suspected Yosef that he'll maybe take revenge after the father passed away? They were with him for 17 years. By now, they should know that Yosef doesn't have the potential of taking revenge. Because we are talking here again about not in Yonim got forbidden. We're talking about Shiftei Kot Tzadikim. To give them that he was going to take them to a higher level where they would be afraid to be able to handle it. And they said, don't worry, I will nurture you, I will feed you, I'll give you, I'll take care of you. Yes, my avodah is to take you higher than you are. But I'll do it, make sure. Ne'eh Katzein Yesh, just like a real shepherd knows the small goat to give them soft grass, and stronger goat to give them harder grass. Like by David HaMelech. I'll give it to you exactly that you'll be able to, and you have nothing to worry about. But Chad v'Sholom to say that it was the worry that he'll take revenge on them. By now, for sure, they knew that Yosef was be'ein arech higher than them, and the reason why they had to bow down to him because they had to become a vessel to take Yashpor from him, his level, as we explained last time, the idea of Atzilus from of Yaakov to Mamshich into the Shvatim. Now when we have the info from Vayechi, Yaakov is alive. Yaakov saw the equal life, what he saw the idea of the Gil of Mashiach, what will be everything will transform into positive. It's Dainess, that's like a Zoches. Should be now this Galus of Melech HaMashiach, Erev Asar B'Tevis, where the Asar B'Tevis was also a concept of a way of Magdim, full of Makkah. Be this Galus of Mashiach now will be in Beis HaMikdash, in Yerushalayim, Yerakedesh, Beis HaMikdash, Kedesh Kadosha. All the best and a good Shabbos and Mashiach now.